Gridiron Grinder! Hut hut hike!
All right, party people, we are rolling. It is Gridiron Grinder time. I am Ryan. With me, as always, is my buddy James. We're just a couple of dudes hanging out talking about what's going on in the NFL each week. This is episode 205, and we're going to kick things off with Name That Stadium. Then we're going to cover the news from the past week. After that, we're going to give you guys our week 6 power rankings and game picks. And then we'll close it off with our question of the week. And so, yeah, with all that being said, how's it going there tonight, James?
It's going all right. It's been a week so far, and we're only halfway through it, so we'll see what's going on with the rest of the week. How's it going with you?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. I was actually just glancing at our script here that I kind of follow, and it dawned on me it's been a long, long time. In one of the intros, I would say, "Oh, we're just a couple of dudes hanging out, sipping whiskey, talking about what's going on in the NFL each week." We haven't said that in a while, but we can say that now 2 episodes in a row, James. So I might have to just bring that extra couple words back into that intro line.
Yeah, it's just a matter of me remembering to bring the bottle up into my office. And I remembered last week because I was just having a shitty week, and you saw my first pour, so
Yes, it was quite, aggressive. Let's just say it that way. What kind of whiskey you sipping on, man?
I got the baby blue going again.
Oh
As you
yeah,
can
the baby
see,
blue.
if you can see the bottle, like I haven't drank it since last week, and I'm already down to here, so
Put a nice little dent in it. Not too shabby. Not too shabby.
yeah, not
Some
bad for
some
what
might
like.
say you're a lightweight, James, but I'll just say, hey, you're just getting back into it. So
No, I'm down to there. That's just a reference to the heavy pour I started with last week.
yes,
I
yes, just
started
one
this
heavy
week with
pour to take the edge off.
I started this week with a lighter pour and go from there. I didn't
Yeah, I'm
I
just
wasn't
messing with
saying
you,
I
man.
was drunk.
It's
I
it's
was
all
I
good.
was just
It's all
saying.
good. Nope, you are moderating your enjoyment, which is a very responsible thing to do. Yeah, and I'm drinking the Michter's again. This one's been treating me right lately, and so. But I will also be moderating my enjoyment tonight. So nothing wrong with that, man. It's a school night. You got to get up and do your thing tomorrow. So.
Yeah.
All right, bud. Well, hey, whenever you're ready, why don't you do some name that stadium for us?
All right. As you can see, traveling around, going to different stadiums, host NFL games. Sometimes international, sometimes in Baltimore, and first person guesses right, gets an extra special shout out the following week, probably get a bookmark on it, and you can show it off to all your friends, watch it over and over again. And, you know, last week I was in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Right now, I'm wishing I remembered my ESPN Plus password because there's an article I want to reference in the news, but I can't. But last week I was in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. This week I'm in Baltimore. Gus, play and Gus, and
And we'll
be the
give you a
first person.
super special shout out.
Super extra special shout out next week.
Yes.
Is
And
you
I
know what?
bookmark it too, guys, but you got to play. So, yeah. All right. Well, that's cool, man. So, I guess let's just kind of segue over and do a little bit of a recap of the past week. And so, um, I noticed we got some injury stuff going on, which I mean, we've not focused a ton on in recent weeks, but for this week, we'll just point out it looks like Michael Pittman Jr. is going to go on to IR and he's going to miss, it looks like, at least 4 games. Um, oh, actually, no, hang on, sorry. Expected to miss multiple games, could go on IR. He's not actually put on IR yet. Um, it was Nico Collins for the Texans got put on IR. He'll be out for at least 4 games. And then you've got Derek Carr with an oblique injury. I don't know how long he's going to be out for, but they're already saying Spencer Rattler, the rookie, is going to start at quarterback this Sunday for the Saints.
Woohoo! I found my password.
Yay, good for
Now
you.
now I got to get the 6-digit code that that they
Yeah, yeah,
supposedly are sending me because they don't believe that it's me. But
dual factor.
anyways,
Yeah, but
uh,
while you're doing that, I'll keep going, dude. Don't worry about it. I got you covered. So, in quarterback news, other than Derek Carr and the injury, um, it looks like Aiden O'Connell's going to start at quarterback for the Raiders this weekend over Gardner Minshew. Antonio Pierce just kind of, ran out of rope there with Minshew, and he's making the move. It is what it is, man. I mean, the Raiders want to win. Pierce wants to hang on to that head coaching job. Um, and it's been tough sledding for him. And so maybe shaking it up with Aiden O'Connell will help. I think that if they get Devontae Adams back, that would help. But with Devontae Adams now trying to be traded, I'm not sure that we're going to see him play because why would he risk getting hurt? So
well, he actually has an official injury
hamstring
designation.
injury, yeah.
He
I
has a
I did
hamstring
hear I
injury.
did hear that if he's healthy, he will play. But I don't buy it, right? Because if you're on the trade block, nobody's going to risk you getting hurt.
Yeah, exactly. So I agree there. I don't know. We'll see what happens. With that, I just
Yeah. Oh, and then another quarterback news: Drake May is going to get his first start. Jacoby Brissett has been benched. We talked about this last week. I understand that at some point you got to do it, right? When your team
Mhm.
is losing, the coach is kind of like, their hand is forced to do this. Man, they better be super fucking tight with what they call for plays because we know that offensive line is probably, by my opinion, not even close, the worst offensive line in the league. That is a horrible situation to put a rookie quarterback that's going to be a split second slower and making reads and decisions. It just, you know, they're not setting him up for success. And so, design a lot of short, quick plays, a lot of rollouts, a lot of things like that where he can escape and avoid taking big hits because otherwise the dude's going to get fucking shell shocked.
He's going to get shell shock anyways because I don't think he's as mobile of a quarterback as the other rookies this
Yeah, like
year,
Jaden Daniels, yeah.
like Jaden Daniels and I mean even Caleb Williams, who's not really apparently hates running the ball and hates designed runs, which I found interesting.
Yeah, well, he's a bitch. So, my opinion. I just don't like his attitude. You
Yeah,
know,
I think
I
some
got you
stuff
got
is.
polar opposites, him and Jaden Daniels. You got like man of the year Jaden Daniels and fucking piece of shit, fucking douchebag Caleb Williams. So my opinion.
Yeah, in your opinion, and I think part of the issue with Caleb Williams, I'm not saying it's all the issue, but part of the issue is there's stuff that's attributed to him that is not stuff he actually said, but there's stuff that he's actually said that's pretty shitty. So I think part of it's a little bit of a bad rap, but I
Yes,
think
but where there's smoke, there is fire, James.
well, I think like where you started on him was something like when his jersey was being retired and he said as it should be or
Oh yeah,
something,
some of that was some of that
which
was
wasn't even him that said it. It was
yeah.
Snoop Dogg that said it or something like that. So,
Yeah, but
but then it
James,
got
the dude
attributed to
the
him.
dude fucking started like a hedge fund and talked about, making all this money, and he hasn't even done anything in the NFL before he even took a snap in the NFL. It's like, come on, man, you're getting a little big for your britches here. How about you be a professional football player first, and then you can start doing all your off the field whatever bullshit. My opinion.
So starting a
So,
hedge fund, that's just starting a company, starting a hedge fund, that's just smart asset management.
wow, you just want to play devil's advocate and piss me off tonight, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, why
You're
why the
lucky.
fuck
You're
not?
lucky that you're fucking many, many miles away, dude. Because I would fucking punch you right in the junk right now, James. All right.
First of all, I
Before
know
I get
you
angry,
wouldn't punch me in the junk,
oh, I would
but
fucking cock
you would
knock the shit out of you.
it would be a more heated discussion
Sure,
about it. You'd
sure.
probably get up in my face and motherfucker. What
I would resort to violence. No. But apparently, let's talk about Robert Saleh for a minute.
Oh,
because
yes.
this is interesting. He was fired yesterday by the Jets, or the day before. I don't know, yesterday, day before, but probably yesterday. But um, and I was sent an article that said that the team had security escort him out of the building and would not let him talk to any of the players or staff on his departure, which to me, it makes me wonder either the team is lacking fucking class and they just fucking disrespectfully fired him, or maybe Salah got a little hot headed and they had to have security take him out. Either way, I don't really have those details. It's just a bad look. And Salah came out today and, made a comment about being grateful for his time with the Jets. Um, Man, what happens behind closed doors we'll never know. But to me, it's like, come on, what did you think? This guy's never going to talk to those players again, or those coaches, or other people in the organization that he's been with for 3+ years? Like, I don't know. To me, it's like something had to happen, or the team fouled up by the way that they escorted him out of the building like that.
All right. So first of all, on this, I don't know. I haven't seen the articles about that. I texted you this morning. I was like, I completely missed it yesterday. We get busy and I didn't go in, and I saw it today.
Yeah.
So what they had said was, this is sources within the Jets. There had been a feeling of apprehension in the building since the offseason. Concerned that people would be losing their jobs if the season didn't live up to expectations. The vibe was poor after the loss to the Broncos and then the loss to Minnesota and London. But people at the facility Monday said things were starting to feel more positive as they began to focus on Monday night. And because they have a chance, like if they win Monday night, they can be a tie for the AFC East. And so when the news broke Tuesday morning, everyone was shocked. So this is the key that I found in this. So the Jets produced 2 dozen in a row. The second one came in front of the owner's friends in London. So they embarrassed him.
Okay.
He decided, and it was 100% his decision to fire. And
they replaced him with the defensive coordinator to be the interim head coach, which to me is like, okay, maybe you'll get some different results because the team has more time together and whatever else. And but the issue we know, James, from watching this team, the issue is their offense. And the issue is it's more than just the offense, it's their quarterback. Rodgers has had one good game, and in 3+ years, Robert Saleh has not had anything close to a starting caliber quarterback. And even with Aaron Rodgers this year, he's pulling his typical Aaron Rodgers bullshit. You see it every game with the disgusting look on his face where he's blaming receivers and other people for the offense not humming. But you don't see him working with guys on the sideline, trying to get them to adjust things, doing anything like that. He's just a fucking cancer, dude, and it's fucking stupid. So Salah had to fall on the sword, and I liked him. Obviously, I'm biased, but I feel like he was never given shit to work with on offense.
So here's the thing about it. Going into it a little more. Like this is the ESPN Plus article that I wanted to read. A separate source said that it was 100% Woody, referencing the owner Woody Johnson, who believed that Johnson fired Salah because he didn't handpick him because he was away from the team as the UK ambassador and wasn't all in on Salah and had concerns about his coach, about his tactics and leadership. And and he had a clear exit strategy with the 2 losses, the kind of underperforming, and
Sure. And, what are you going to do this season now? You know, if you don't make the playoffs, you look like an idiot as an owner because a lot could have changed if you would have kept the continuity. This is the first time in 3 years that the dude had a chance with a quarterback, and that particular quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, hasn't been able to gel with his fucking guys yet. Probably because he didn't do anything in the preseason. And probably because his number 2 wide receiver's coming back from a fucking, serious injury as well, and all sorts of shit. Doesn't matter. The problem is, you gutted it, and what's going to get better on offense for them? It can only organically get better, which is what it was going to do anyhow. It's not like they're making, like a move, bringing in an offensive consultant or something to help them. It's just fucking stupid to me, man.
no, 100%. So,
But hey, I will say this. Detroit Lions, keep tabs on this. Because if Aaron Glenn goes and takes a head coaching job next year, beg Robert Saleh to come in and take his spot. He was a phenomenal defensive coordinator for the 49ers. We would love to have him. Whether he would step back into that role or not, I don't know, but that could be a great silver lining for a lot of people if it played out that way. He is from Dearborn. Bring the guy home, man.
yeah, and see, that's the thing is I've seen both, already seen both Glenn and what's his face, Johnson,
Ben Johnson, yep.
um,
They're
kind
going to be
of,
head coaching candidates until they take a job.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know what the fuck happened, but there's 2 reports. One was he was telling his staff that he had been let go, and when he was escorted out of the building, and the other one was he had a meeting with Woody, told he was being fired, and escorted out of the building.
Okay. So yeah, there's something more behind the scenes that we don't know about.
Yeah, the interesting part about it, and it's everything is, Rogers is saying that, he
He
had
had
nothing to
nothing to
do
do
with
with it.
it.
Yeah, okay.
Woody Johnson saying he had nothing to. It was 100% Woody Johnson.
And it might
One
have been, I
day,
don't know.
one day after Woody Johnson met with Aaron Rodgers, Robert Saleh was fired.
Yeah, it's just suspicious, right?
Yeah. So then he comes out and says, "Oh, I didn't. Rodgers didn't have anything to do with it." So he said, the New York Jets firing of it came just one day after a meeting between Woody Johnson and Aaron Rodgers, according to the owner. Johnson said he
Yeah.
met with Rodgers on Monday night just prior to firing, but that Rodgers had no input on the decision Tuesday morning. Yeah, bullshit.
Unlikely. All right. We'll get off that, we don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but it bothered me. In other injury news, this is one that I missed earlier, is defensive tackle Christian Wilkins for the Raiders. He had foot surgery, is out indefinitely. That is a huge loss for the Raiders. And I think
Who had foot surgery? I missed that. I got distracted with the Saleh stuff again.
yeah, he had foot surgery, and I
Who?
guess Christian Wilkins,
Okay, thank you.
defensive tackle for the Raiders, and I guess Max Crosby has had some injury issues too. So the Raiders are just having a lot of things go wrong for them, a lot of bad luck, to be honest. So
Yeah, well, it's the Raiders.
yeah, and I mean it's the NFL. Look at the 49ers; they got everybody and their mom on the fucking injury report. So
Exactly. So we'll see.
all right, man. That's pretty much all I got on the news. If there's anything that you want to hit, it's all yours.
Quarterback controversy in Pittsburgh? Maybe.
Really, is Russ finally getting some options here?
He was a full participant in practice so far.
Okay.
Or this week, or today, or whenever the fuck this article was. I haven't gone into the article. I just see roundup. Steelers, Wilson, full participant. Thibodeau has wrist surgery.
Gotcha. Yeah, and okay, so Pittsburgh loses a game. So it opens up the door a little bit if Russ gets healthy, right? Or 2 games. Okay.
They lost 2 in a row.
Yeah. So I guess the door is open.
Exactly. It's open. Um, we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Something to keep an eye on.
I think
Oh,
they
and
should
in
trade
the
him.
head coaching thing, James, just so it's in the back of your mind,
I already know that's where you're going with it.
for
So
question of the week. Okay. Gotcha. Cool. All right. So, yeah, what else you got on the news?
I think that was it.
Okay.
That's all I'm seeing. It's kind of a shorter week. We just did this Friday and we're here on Wednesday. So
Yeah. Easy peasy. Let's go on to our power rankings then. So, whenever you're ready, James, give me your 1 through 5, bud.
all right. In my power rankings, there's a lot of shakeups. Like a lot.
Okay.
1 through 4 stayed the same. Kansas City, they won. Detroit on a bye, not going to move them. Baltimore beat Cincinnati. Minnesota beat the Jets. All
Nowhere to
wins.
go. Yeah.
Nowhere to go. Houston beat Buffalo 23-20, and I moved them up 1 spot to number 5. Um, I don't know how to think about this game. I don't know how to think about it's more Buffalo and like how Houston won. I think while this is gonna be a weird comment,
Mm-hmm.
I think and I never want to see anybody get hurt, but I think Nico Collins being hurt settles a little bit in that offense, and the offense is going to gel a little bit more.
Really, you think because they got to put more emphasis on Diggs now?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think Collins is better than Diggs, to be honest.
I think so too. But I think with the two of them there,
Yeah, it was
it's
creating some conflict.
creating conflict, or Stroud trying to spread the ball to both of them, and possibly missing like times where Diggs is open because he's trying to make sure he gets Collins the ball, and vice versa. Where I think this time
Yeah, it
without
clears that
both of
issue.
them, it clears that issue. So it's like naturally Diggs is going to be your number one target, and not have to rotate it.
Yeah, no, that could be. Yeah, and then you got Dalton Schultz still as, the tight end guy, and you got Mixon and the running games. It becomes a more traditional kind of offense, right? Yeah, you just gave me your 1 through 5. I'll give you my 1 through 5. I've got Kansas City and Baltimore at the top still. They didn't move. Then I've got Houston. I bumped them up 3 spots. Buffalo dropped them down 1. And then Detroit, who stayed put on a bye. I do agree with some of what you're saying where, maybe some bigger moves than I was expecting at this particular point in the season because I did make a lot of big moves last week. Some of it I think was maybe amplified a little bit by the bye weeks, right? So we had 4 teams on bye, and sometimes that causes when you make an adjustment, it's like 1 or 2 steps maybe bigger than what you normally would do, and so that probably has contributed to it at least on my side. But yeah, man, give me your 6 through 10.
So, on my side, a lot of my big adjustments were teams are. I was a couple teams I was a little slower on them to move them, which is abnormal for me. I normally
Yeah, you're
jump them,
normally trigger happy.
but
Boom.
I wanted to see a little more.
Yeah.
Number 6, I have the Cowboys. They moved up 2 spots. They beat Pittsburgh, who I had just barely in my top 10. But when you watch that game, it felt to me more like Dallas was winning the game the entire game, and
Yeah, it
Pittsburgh was
seemed like
just
they
like
were in control.
Yeah, in control. Thank you. I was like, couldn't come up with the word, but Dallas looked more in control, and Pittsburgh was just like grasping on for dear life. Dallas, I still have concerns. I have concerns about that defense. I'm glad I have concerns about that defense going into this week, but that's another story. We'll get to that in the game picks.
Yes.
Buffalo, they lost to Houston. I had Houston ahead of Buffalo, anyways.
Yeah, so you didn't need to do much there. I got
So
you.
I didn't do much when you're talking about matchups in the top 7, top 10, like a loss in the top 10 to another top 10 team. If you have the top the team that wins below, you'll obviously flip them. But if you have them ahead, like it depends on the game flow. It was a close game. I do think that Buffalo is looking more like a house of cards, and if they do lose this week, to the Jets, who are in disarray,
all hell will be breaking loose, man, because they started off on fire and now they're collapsing.
Yeah, and that's like New Orleans, who we'll get to later, that I don't know what to do with. Then at 8, I have the Washington Commanders. I'm glancing. I think this is my biggest move up.
Okay.
This week, to
pretty healthy move, yeah.
13 spots, and I was really slow on the Commanders because like I've been like going into the draft, like my real order was May, Daniels kind of neck and neck, and then Caleb Williams, and we haven't seen May play, but Daniels is showing that, like I thought, he's ahead of Caleb Williams, and he's a better right now and better prospect than Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams might have a high upside, but it's going to take a while to get to that upside. And as we've seen, the floor is a 70-yard passing game. So
yeah.
So I came around, and if the Cowboys had lost to Pittsburgh, I would have put Washington ahead of the Cowboys. But the more I watch Washington, the more I think Washington is going to win that division.
Yeah, they're making a push.
Philadelphia, they were on a bye. They stayed at 9. Then San Francisco dropped 5 spots. I really don't know what to do with San Francisco. It's so confusing. Like I just want them to get to having McCaffrey back so we can see what that team was. But against Arizona, who does not have a stellar defense by any means, it was like they couldn't protect Purdy all game, and it reared its ugly head at the last play of the game when he was hit as he was throwing the ball, which caused the interception. And so I don't know what's going on in the offensive line. I think I would
have to look at the injury report to see who on the offensive line is banged up. But I mean, dude, they've got like fucking 22 guys on the injury report. It's fucking sick.
Yeah, and so I tried to glance at the injury report real quick as I was doing it.
Yeah.
And everybody's gonna be banged up. So I tried to go with the not the questionable target. I try to go with less than that. So they have Feliciano on IR on the offensive line. Other than that, they have no injuries on their offensive line.
Yeah. You'd think they'd be better protecting right now, you know?
Yeah.
Especially because they've been running the ball well. You know, it's not like they're one-sided. So
they have injuries at wide receiver. They have injuries.
Kittle was out of game.
Running back. Kittle was out of game. They have injuries on the defense.
Well, and I know what's going on with Trent Williams because he's got the contract dispute.
But he has no injury designation.
Yeah, see, I don't know. That's weird, man. The whole thing's weird.
So going into last week's game, he did have something going on. He was questionable. Blah, blah, blah. Trent Williams, he was added to the injury report on Friday because he had an illness.
Okay.
Williams, it was seen moving slowly in the locker room on Friday practice, and it was listed as questionable. He came in this morning with something sore. It acted up a little bit, but it doesn't say what.
Gotcha. Yeah, either way, they're having some issues, you know. It reminds me of where they were just a couple years ago, where they were like leading the league in players on IR, and you know, we kept talking about how they had so much fucking talent and they just kept getting hurt and hurt and hurt, and like it was just like slowly dragging them down until, you know, they just couldn't fucking get over the hump. And so
no, that was like 2 years ago where they almost made the Super Bowl. Like that was the Philadelphia San Francisco NFC Championship game where the reason Philadelphia won that game was because they had to play Christian McCaffrey. Purdy blew his arm out, and
Yeah,
then
see, no, I'm thinking of like a year or two before that when they had so many guys on IR. But yeah, that year was bad too. That year just was like an emphasis of how stacked they were that they could overcome it, right? And so maybe we got spoiled by that year thinking that they could just keep doing that. And this year we're seeing that no, it's dragging them down.
yeah, and it's honestly it's probably taking its toll. Having constantly people getting injured is like I think the biggest issue with San Francisco is CMC. Like,
Oh yeah, that's a huge. I mean, he's their best player, right? If you're missing
yeah,
your best player, it's going to slow you down big time.
exactly. So I mean, we'll see what happens, but I mean, they have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven people on the IR. They also have an additional one, two, three, four, five, six, an additional six people listed as out.
It's a lot, man. That's a
But
lot.
not one of them, I'm sorry, Feliciano is the only one of them, which he's listed as the third either center or
Sure.
right guard. So, I mean, if he's listed at two positions, then he's not a starter.
All right. All right. Well, let me give you my 6 through 10. So at 6, I got Dallas. I bumped him up one spot. 7, I've got Minnesota. I moved him up 3. 8, I've got the Bengals. I thought it was too tight of a game. It's kind of like what you talked about earlier with, Buffalo losing to Houston. I thought, okay, since he lost to Baltimore, my number 2 team, I'm not going to drop him. It was super close, went into overtime. At 9, I've got the 49ers. I dropped them 5. And then at 10, I've got the Packers. I moved them up 1. And so, yeah, not a whole lot to comment on these guys, but I am slowly creeping Minnesota up there. I haven't done like the big moves like you have as quickly as you have, but I'm getting there, man. Back to you at 11.
So since you mentioned Minnesota, and I forgot to mention it when I did my top five, Minnesota and Kansas City are the only two undefeated teams remaining,
Yes.
which they'll have to wait another week to figure out which one's the first undefeated team, the last undefeated team, because they're both on a bye this week.
Bye, fuckers.
Mm, But anyways, a little side tip to it. All right,
Yeah.
so 11, I have the Chargers. They're on a bye. They didn't move. 12, I have Pittsburgh. I dropped them 2 spots. Like I said, I thought Pittsburgh was just really like barely hanging on in that game. 13, I have the Packers. I moved the Packers up 5, and I hated moving them up 5. So I reacted really negatively with the Packers when Love got hurt,
Yep. You're just
and
correcting some of that.
so I kind of had to correct it.
Yeah, because it was a close game against the Rams, right? It came down to the
Yeah,
final drive, but
it came down to the final
um,
drive, and I think I'm trying to remember because I watched it. It was like I think they were in the red. I think the Rams were in the red
they,
zone.
I know they were past the 50, or they were like just about to get past the 50 when that drive stalled out. But yeah, I did see something today that was interesting. It was Jordan Love was he was like first or second in the NFL in yards per game, and he did miss some time, so just keep that in mind. But he was like 31st or 32nd in completion percentage, and so it was strange to see like such disparity. And I heard that somebody was talking to LaFleur about some of his like questionable throws, and like they're just saying that this is just what you're going to get with him until he settles in because he missed time and he's not
Hmm.
fully 100% healed yet and everything like that, but that he's got the arm talent that he's going to try to use it. And so, just a little stat for you.
Yeah. So the thing with I just went to the play-by-play for the Packers Rams game. They were at the 38. They had 4th and 5 on from Green Bay's 38. What killed that drive was was the Stafford sack.
Yeah.
It was a 7-yard sack on second down, which really put them behind. If it weren't for that, on the next play, like they got the 7 yards back on the next play. So like that would have been the first down, and they would have kept going. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. There was also I want to say like the two drives before that. Yeah, 2 drives before that. I want to say there was like penalties or something, or no, there was more sacks. The 8-yard sack. They were on the 43, and Stafford was sacked for 8 yards. So it is kind of like the same thing, like a couple sacks, and Stafford not being mobile is kind of killing them. They got to protect that. They got to protect him more, because it felt to me watching the game flow that Stafford was sacked like all the fucking time.
Gotcha.
And he was only sacked 3 times, but it's
Could have
minus
just been a
24
ton
yards.
of pressure. Yeah.
So
And
let me
3
look
maybe at
QB
the worst
hits.
times.
Where's QB hits? I think I gotta go to the box score for that. He was hit 10 times.
Okay.
So, and that's not including sacks. Maybe including sacks. I don't know. I don't know how the fuck they compute it. And, these stats in the NFL games are. Anyways, I digress. Where was I? I was on the Rams
You were at Packers at 13.
Packers at 13. Thank you. Rams, Packers. I was talking about that game. Falcons. I moved them up 5 spots to 14. I'm starting to come around with them. Plus when I got my rankings done, and I was looking at it, the Falcons just beat Tampa Bay, ended up with them so close. So I put the Falcons above Tampa Bay who I have at 15, who dropped 1 spot.
Makes sense. I'm good with that. All right, so then for me at 11, I've got the Commanders. I moved them up 6 spots. We've talked about it the last couple weeks. I mean, these guys are probably the most exciting team in football. I'm just making my, sort of calculated jumps up. I had them so low on my board, it's been hard to get them up this high, but they're getting there. They're pushing top 10 now. 12, I've got Philly. They were on a bye. They didn't move. 13, I've got Atlanta. I moved them up 5. 14, Tampa Bay, dropped them down 5. And then 15, Pittsburgh, I dropped them down 1. It's tempting now, with Pittsburgh going down 1, with some of the things you're saying about their offense and just kind of looking maybe a little bit sluggish or skittish in that game, is I'm going to have to keep an eye on them, because if they're just a defensive team, I can see them sliding down the board further. But with Atlanta and Tampa Bay, this is a situation for me where because Atlanta won and I was going to be dropping Tampa Bay and I knew I was going to be bumping Atlanta, I probably pushed them a little bit further than I wanted. But it was weird, because it was like, well, if I only move Atlanta up 3 and then Tampa Bay's like still above them and they're like neck and neck, I just thought I just got to make the fucking move and do the full deal. And so that's why I did that move on my board, my man.
Which makes sense. That's kind of what I did when I ended up with them so close. So at 16, I have Bengals, didn't move, close loss in overtime to Baltimore. I still think there's problems with the Bengals, but
especially on defense, yeah.
Especially on defense, but I wasn't ready to move them after that game, because I thought they had a solid chance at winning. I'm trying to remember if I might be confusing it, but I thought Baltimore came back to win the game.
They did, yeah. Yeah, and even Cincinnati had a chance to win it in overtime. They stopped Baltimore, and then they just couldn't get it done.
Yeah,
it's like Cincinnati's offense was hot all the way until the fourth quarter, and then Baltimore came back, and Cincinnati's defense couldn't do shit.
Yeah, so they were up with like 9 minutes left in the game by 10 points. So I did remember that correctly. I thought like the entire entire game, I felt like Cincinnati was going to win the game.
Yep.
So it's hard. It's real hard to drop them, and they lost the game because McPherson missed a 53-yard field goal.
Yeah, and I mean, you got them at 16. You got Baltimore super high. I mean, there's no reason to drop them, dude. I get it.
Yeah, but it couldn't take them up. Anyways, Seattle, I dropped them 4 spots after losing to the Giants. I talked about this. I talked about it going into the game. Like, something was telling me the Giants had a chance to win the game. Like, something was just telling me. And they found a gem in that running back. What the fuck's his name?
Oh, Ty something?
Ty something or Tice or what the fuck is his name? But that he looks really, really good. Tracy.
Yeah.
His last name's Tracy. It is his Tyrone Tracy.
Ty
Jr.
Tracy. I was close.
Yeah, you were close. And Ty was ringing well, but like he had 129 yards rushing, and he also he only had 1 reception, but it was targeted twice. But he had 129 yards rushing, averaged 7.2 yards per carry.
Yeah, legit.
And we've talked about it in the past with Daniel Jones. When Daniel Jones had that stellar season, it was really a Saquon season, where Saquon had a phenomenal season, and Daniel Jones rode his coattails, and that's what happened in this game. But I talked about it, like something was telling me to pick the Giants. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. No, it's hard. It's hard when they're that far apart on the board, man.
Yeah. And then at 18, I have Arizona. This was another big move up, and I can't really justify it besides a lot of teams losing that were ahead of them, and then Tennessee being on the bye, and like it's just kind of how it fell.
Combination.
I do not like Arizona here. I feel it's too high, and I'm gonna correct it next week. But I struggled with them this week with how the board fell.
Sure.
Then 19, I have the Rams. I dropped them 2 spots. Like, their issue is protecting Stafford. Their biggest issue is protecting Stafford, and if they can figure out how to protect Stafford, they can be a playoff team. Probably not win their division, but possibly because the division's kind of wide open with San Francisco struggles. Then Tennessee, they were on the bye. I left them at 20.
Okay. Yeah, at 16, I've got the Chargers. They were on a bye. 17, I've got the Jets. I dropped them down 4. That's something where it could be, I mean, it's anybody's guess where they go from here, right? I could see them just like trickling down now that they've gotten rid of Saleh. But I could also see Rodgers slowly getting more and more chemistry with his receivers and the team actually getting better, which would be independent of what happened with Saleh because they're fucking idiots. But, Rodgers, I will say on the plus side, is getting Garrett Wilson more involved, which is, I think, helping. But it's been a lot of short pass plays, nothing big yet. At 18, I've got Chicago. I moved them up 2 spots. It's partly the board, not as much about them beating Carolina. 19, Seattle, I dropped them 4. 20, the Saints, I dropped them 1. Now that I know that Carr's going to be missing a few games, I'll probably be dropping them more unless Spencer Rattler can surprise. But, if I'd have known about Carr when I did the rankings, I probably would have dropped him a few more spots. What I'm getting at. So.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. I didn't know about Carr when I did the rankings, even though I did do the rankings today. But one thing I was curious about with Spencer Rattler is he's been in the.
No, he's a rookie, dude.
Rookie. Oh, that's right. I remember him. I remember him at South Carolina this year. So he was very hit and miss at South Carolina last year, and that's the thing that just sticks out in my head. But I digress. I'll get to that in a little bit because I got a couple spots before I get to the Saints. So number 21, I have the Jets. I dropped them down 9 spots. This was done after I found out about the Saleh firing. I probably I had Minnesota in my top 5 or top 4, and kind of expected the Jets to lose the game. But when you fire Saleh, I thought that just kind of put a respectable showing in the game. And like it's just kind of it's like a fucking cop out. Like honestly, there was a weird moment between Salah and Rogers on the sideline on Sunday morning that I saw because I woke up a little bit early, not too early. Yeah, I mean, fuck, these London games start at 6:30 a.m. for me, and I'm not going to wake up at 6:30 a.m. on a Sunday. Anyways, the point I was saying is there's something I saw and between Rogers and Salah on the sideline that my first reaction was Salah's being fired.
All right.
And then when I found out about Salah being fired, my first reaction was Aaron Rodgers had 100% to do with it.
Yeah, 3 interceptions.
No, I mean like
and crying to the owner. Yes,
crying to the owner.
I'm just saying the 3 interceptions. Maybe that was the knife in the back.
That last interception should have been fucking defensive pass.
You know, Mike Williams wasn't even turned around, man.
Okay, holding. Like his path was held up. Yes, it was a bad fucking throw by Rodgers. I'm not taking that away from him.
Yeah.
It target wise when you have where cornerback was and Williams was like you want to go up high, not down low.
You're just mad because I blew you out in fantasy.
But
that even if that would have been. Even if that would have swung it, you still would have lost, my man.
Wouldn't have mattered, and I accept that. The whole point is, if you watch that play, he was hindering his advancement on the field. And my point of this whole rant is the refs this year are fucking inconsistent.
Very inconsistent.
Fucking blow. They like week 1 they're calling illegal formation like every other fucking play.
Now they're not calling it at all.
Now I can't remember the last time I got it called. Yeah. Fucking Taiwan, what's his face, a fucking tackle for the Chiefs never gets called for false start. He starts 2 to 3 seconds
blatantly
early.
Obvious. It just they're being very selective and inconsistent. It's very shitty officiating.
The thing that ultimately got me is late in the game, and I forget what game it was. The running back went out. They brought another running back in. Even though it was late in the game and the clock was winding, that is a formation change, and the refs are supposed to allow the defense to adjust to it, to substitute. And they didn't stop them from snapping the ball. Let them snap the ball like 15 milliseconds after the running back ran on the field. And like it's like something's wrong with the refs this year. Like seriously,
it does seem pretty bad.
And it's bugging the fuck out of me.
All right, 22. You got the Raiders.
22. I got the Raiders. Didn't move. Saints didn't move. The Saints. The stat I saw is like the first 3 weeks of the season, 44 points, 46 points, whatever the fuck they scored. The last 2 weeks of the season, and I'll pull the set up for sure. So in week 1 they scored. Let me do it this way. New Orleans. So in week 1 they scored 47 points. In week 2 they scored 44 points. The last 3 weeks they have scored 49 points. Part of that this past week against the Chiefs is the Carr injury. Part of it also is I think Taysom Hill's been out for 2 weeks.
Yeah, without Taysom Hill, their offense they're saying statistically much worse.
Yeah. So Taysom Hill, I think
he's a clutch player wherever you put him. Tight end, running back, quarterback, doesn't matter. You know, he gets him a key play, 5-6 times a game, which helps keep him going.
Yeah, but he doesn't get big fucking stats like at all. Like 3. No. He touches the ball like so. The most he touched the ball was the week he got hurt against Atlanta, which was 6 times. He touched the ball total outside of those 6 times. The other 2 games he's played, he's touched the ball a total of 8 times.
Okay.
But he gets those those weird, like, oh my goodness, how did he do that plays every once in a while, which is why people fall in love with him. Spencer Rattler, I I didn't know what to make of him coming into the draft. Um, I
Yeah,
still don't know what to
yeah,
make of him. Like, I think, like, I joked coming into the draft that, like, there how many quarterbacks I saw going in the first round, that there was a chance that Rattler could go in the first round. His last year at college, he had a 68.9% completion percentage, 3,200 yards, passing a 19-8, so 2-1 interception TD interception ratio. He rushed the ball 97 times for a total of 104 yards. The year before that, he had a little bit less, same yardage, more interceptions. So he was kind of up and down in college. He had his best year was 2020 when it was only a 68% completion percentage, but he had 3,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 4-1, 160 yards rushing. I don't know what to 100% make of him. I think he has a lot of potential, and we'll see what happens with the Saints. But they could be heading straight to my fucking dumpster fire. Giants, they won. They beat Seattle. I still think they have to use the running game more to get Daniel
yeah.
Jones going, and when the running game's going. So they moved them up only one spot. Broncos moved up 5 spots. I'm seeing a lot of promise in Bo Nix. A lot of promise. A lot of potential for what he could be. The more familiar he gets with the pro game, the more in tune with the program, the more he sees, the more he learns. Like, I'm seeing. I
It
don't know
helps
how
they
to
have
explain.
probably the best defense in the league out of nowhere.
Yeah, out of fucking nowhere. Which don't even get me started with the defense. Did you see? Let's talk about the Giants defense for a second. Giants offense. The Giants should have lost the game against Seattle. They
Yeah,
fucking had the ball, first and goal on the 1 yard line. Fucking fumble,
yeah, it was kind of a fluke.
recovered for a touchdown.
So, yeah,
But the best play I saw all weekend, which I wanted to talk about, I believe it was the Baltimore game. No, it was the Dallas game. It was the Dallas game, and I forget the player was. Dallas had like that last drive where Dallas had the ball like right on the goal line and fucking timed the ball right and fucking drilled the running back, helmet on the ball, fumble, but Dak got that oh shit and recovered it.
gotcha.
Who the fuck was that player that who the fuck made that play? It was like the perfect defensive goal line play. Like whatsoever. The reason the Giants won possibly because the blocked bullshit fucking should have been a penalty blocked field goal touchdown. Don't get me started on that. That's another rant about the rest. I just
Sure.
did I get to 25?
You
You go
did.
because
You
I'm gonna
did.
keep fucking
Yes.
ranting.
All right. I'll interject. So at 21, I've got Arizona. Moved them up 5 spots. They're a very streaky team. When they're on big time. When they're off big time. It's just how they're going to be. I don't get it. But 22, I've got Denver. I moved them up 1. 23, I've got the Raiders. I dropped them 1. 24, I've got the Colts. I dropped them 3. Um, and then at 25, I've got the Dolphins, which I kept them where they were at. They beat New England, which is my worst team on the board, and it was just a ugly game both ways. So I didn't feel like they deserved a bump. But going back to Indianapolis, that was a tough one for me because I thought going into that game, Jacksonville was in desperation mode, and so I didn't want to drop the Colts below Jacksonville on my board, even though this move gets them very close to where each other are at. And so I wanted to just kind of like emphasize that because normally we do that. We'll just like get them close enough that we flip them and whatever. But I refrained from that in this scenario. I think that if they played again, especially if the Colts have Jonathan Taylor back and Anthony Richardson back and whatever else, it's a whole different ballgame. So back to you at 26, man.
All right, so the play was made by Landon Roberts.
Okay.
And I don't even know if you know what the fuck play I'm talking about, but
I don't. I didn't see that
oh
particular
my
play.
god, it was fucking
Like
amazing.
Troy Polamalu reminiscent, where
No,
he just
like
like
better.
times the
Like
snap.
it's no. He didn't time the snap. He timed the running back's leap. Like he got a head start,
Oh,
like
gotcha.
5
Okay,
yards into the end zone, and
sure.
fucking timed the running back's leap to hit him midair before he crossed the goal line. Helmet on the ball. Like you know the meme where what the fuck's the dork on The Simpsons? The kind of balding kid that's a little
Oh,
chubby.
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I forget his
like
name, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
the meme where he's like diving headfirst through a window and his arms are like
Oh,
back.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like Landon Roberts did that on the
Okay.
fucking ball and timed it perfectly. It's like the best defensive play on the goal line I've seen in like 25 years.
Nice, man. Nice.
You have to go look it up. Look up. I'll find it for you and I'll
Yeah, I'll
send
look
it
it
to
up. It's
you.
all good, man. Yeah, I'll check it out.
All right. So what number was on? I was on. I
You're
got
on
the
26.
26. The Bears. They beat Carolina, but I think it was more. I'm still not sold on the Bears. Like they have a lot of potential, but it's Caleb Williams is fucking. I don't know what to do with him.
He's a
With them,
rookie.
it's him. 27 Browns. They lost to the Commanders. Yeah, I did jump the Commanders to the top 10, but the Browns are just in disarray. Although I did hear that the Watson contract, or not Watson contract, Watson lawsuit was settled or dismissed or something
Yeah,
happened with
whatever.
that. It's no longer here. Fuck them. Jacksonville Jaguars, they beat the Colts. This is at 28. Moved them up 4 spots out of the dumpster fire, but I also moved the Colts down 14 spots.
Okay.
And honestly, the reason I did is because I have not seen a single good fucking thing out of the Colts this entire year.
Yeah, maybe I'm holding on to hope a little bit, and you're beating me by a week on them. But because, yeah, I guess it's true. Even with Anthony Richardson, he had some splash plays, but man, he had such a super low
Mm-hmm.
completion percentage. And then even then, the defense was looking like it had some major cracks compared to last year. And then you get the injuries, and it's like, yeah, maybe I gotta rethink that. So you might be onto something there.
Then at 30, the Dolphins won. I moved them up 1 spot. I'm not giving them much credit for beating the Patriots,
Yeah.
besides the fact that I had the Patriots up here in the top 30, and the Dolphins I had at 31. Beating a top 30 team deserve to be a top 30 team.
Right. Okay, at 26, I got the Jags. I moved them up two. 27, I got the Rams. I kept them where they were at. Similar as what we've talked about earlier. They lost to a significantly better team on my board, so I wasn't going to penalize them for that. Plus, they took it all the way to the end. 28, I got the Giants. I moved them up three. Still not sold on them, even though they've got a little bit of momentum all of a sudden. 29, the Browns. I moved them down five. 30, the Titans, they were on a bye, so they didn't move. Cleveland, wow, the Watson stuff is nuts, and I don't even know what else to say about it except that I'm surprised that they haven't benched him by now. To be honest,
No,
it's
they
just such
doubled
a such a misfit for that team.
they doubled fucking down on him. Not
Yep.
only did they not bench him, but like they didn't even consider anything. What's their coach's name? Real quick,
Stefanski.
Stefanski. Thank you.
No, and I want to talk about that in the head coach thing in question of the week, but um, it's just he's so bad. He is so bad, man.
So his quote was like a reporter
We're not
asked.
making a change at quarterback.
No, no, no. A reporter asked, "Was there even a thought or a conversation had about the possibility of sitting Deshaun out this week?" No.
Yeah, and here's the thing, okay? So I don't want to get selfish in all of this, and I don't want to sound that way, but I have Nick Chubb sitting in the IR spot on my fantasy team,
Hmm.
and it occurred to me that with them being this bad, and Chubb coming back from such a serious knee injury, uh, I could see a scenario where Chubb doesn't play at all this year, even though he got pulled off of IR and has been practicing. I think they lose one more game and they say, you know what? Fucking let Chubb just fucking heal and be ready to roll next year because this season's fucking done.
Hmm. So I don't like Jason Garrett at all.
Okay?
I can't stand him. He annoys the piss out of me on Football Night in America or whatever the fuck that show is. Like, I just don't like him. His voice bugs me. He looks like a jackass. Anyways, um, his quote on Watson is like the epitome of what the problem with the Browns is. His quote is, "You can't watch the Cleveland Browns and say Watson gives you the best chance to win. You lose credibility in the locker room when you let other factors come involved. Give Jameis Winston a shot. Maybe there's some new injury. Maybe there's a spark in this team."
I'm not sure that Jameis Winston fits what Stefanski wants to do either, but they should be making a change because I guarantee Jameis Winston will put way more yards in the air than Deshaun Watson is.
No, I'm not even saying, I'm not saying they should make a change or they shouldn't make a change. Like, that's not the relevant factor for me.
Yeah.
The relevant factor for me is not even fucking considering making a
Oh,
change.
yeah. It's a
Seeing
hill.
what
It's a
Watson
hill
has
that he's going to die on.
seeing what Watson has done this year, and
And he's had
being like,
plenty of time. It's not like this is his first season back and you need him to shake off the rust. He has had plenty of time now to get back into form, and he just is not.
okay, he has not hit 200 yards passing this season.
Yeah, he sucks. He fucking
He's had
sucks.
his best game completion percentage wise was against the Raiders, where he completed the ball 75 times, 24 fucking completions, not even 180 fucking yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
What benefit does keeping Watson going out there give this fucking team?
It doesn't. It doesn't at all. All right, man.
All right,
Give me your dumpster fire. Yeah.
Dumpster fire.
Oh,
I've
we've
readjusted,
aligned. We've
realigned.
aligned.
Oh my god, like it's ridiculous. I've realigned the Panthers. I've realized that I got way too crazy on the Andy Dalton
He did
game.
look good for a couple weeks.
He looked good for a couple weeks. Now it's the same old fucking Panthers. I do still see promise in that defense where if they could put together an offensive performance, I know
They're saying the defense is really bad. Like this past week was really bad for them.
they're saying that, but I think the problem is the offense isn't giving them enough
Dragging
time.
them down. Okay.
It's dragging them down.
All right.
And I think like the game that
Well, that
Dalton
could be because
came
Dalton
in,
was going up
the
against
defense
a really
looked
tough
real-
defense, right? So
yeah, the game that Dalton came in where they won, that defense looked really, really, really fucking good. I thought.
I hear you.
I just see a lot of promises. 32 out of the Pats. They dropped 3 spots. I don't. You have a team that's really devoid in talent. They should have stuck to their guns with Brissett. I know it sounds weird. You got to see what you have in Drake May. But the talent on the team and that offensive line is not going to show you a damn thing for Drake May. And you're more liable to get him hurt, get him rattled in that offense to where he can't perform next year. So you should just stayed with Brissett, finish the season with it, and then fix the offensive line next year.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe you get halfway through the season and you got to do it just to do it. But, like, it's just too early because there's just so much time now that it's going to be tough where if he comes in and has, let's say, 3 or 4 nasty games where he's just getting lit up, it's hard to go back to Brissett. But that's if you're a head coach and that's what's going on, you just got to hope that Gerard Mayo is smart enough to do that to save Drake May for next year. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, I've got the same dumpster fire. I'm with you. I dropped Carolina too, and New England was already there. So,
yeah. So it's
all right, man, you want to take us to the picks?
I can take us to the picks. Last week was fucking terrible for both of us.
Yes.
You did a little bit better. The 2 games we had different. You got 8 points. I got 6 points. Um,
Who now has the lead, James?
you have the lead now
Oh, just
with
want to make sure you get that
47.
out there for our 7 viewers.
I have 46. We're starting
Yeah,
with
we got a dogfight, dude. We got a real dogfight.
Thursday night game. We have San Francisco at the Seahawks. Wow. I'm just I'm concerned about San Francisco. If it was in San Francisco, I probably would have gone with the 49ers, but since it's in Seattle, I think Seattle will win this game, but I think it will be close. I've been known to throw an occasional tie in here, and this was an area where I considered it.
I gotcha. Yeah, it's a tough one for me. Ultimately, I have the 49ers still significantly higher on my board. And so that's kind of like my main factor for making these picks where, um, you know, if Seattle was closer, I might give them the edge because they're at home. But because it's that far apart on my board, I stuck with the 49ers. Even though we know they're struggling, they're still second in the league on offense, in 12th on defense. And so, I don't want to throw them out just yet, but it is getting very hard every week to keep defending them.
Mm-hmm. Next up, we have the road Jacksonville Jaguars at the Chicago Bears in, I believe it's Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I forgot to look, but I believe.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for it to load. I thought it was going to show me on my matchup page.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
It's Tottenham Hotspur Stadium again. Jaguars play back-to-back weeks again in London. This week, I'm not going to pick the Jaguars. It's a close one. I think if this was the second end of it, I probably would pick the Jaguars. But I can't pick the Jaguars. I don't trust them. I think the win against this past week against Colts saved Peterson's job for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I think they're going to reassess at the end. And I think, honestly, he's like on the cusp of being fired.
Yeah.
But just not there yet.
Yeah, and I'm with you on taking the Bears here. Looking at the stats, Jacksonville is 31st in defense. And even though the Bears are 26th on offense, I think we're seeing that, when their defense slows down another team, their offense can put points up on the board. And so their number 9th ranked defense, I think, can slow down Jacksonville's 13th ranked offense, which has been very, very sputtering at times this season. And they've had bad fumbles and interceptions and just all sorts of stupid plays, mostly on offense. I think the one thing that could maybe help save Jacksonville, and I hate saying this because I got ETN on my fantasy team, but if they keep riding Tank Bigsby, I think it could settle down the offense and give them a little bit more consistency. Plus, it could help them control the game clock a little bit better. Bigsby, man, he is just like, the old Maurice Jones-Drew bowling ball of a guy that just keeps like plowing through defenders. But I think that they've got a conflict with ETN, and it's going to depend on how healthy he is. Either way, I'm going with the Bears, man.
All right. After that, we have the Washington Commanders at the Baltimore Ravens. Fucking game of the week. Man, I could not be more excited for this game to happen, unfortunately,
Lamar
because
versus Lamar Jr.? No, come on, let's not do that to Jaden Daniels.
all right,
Let him be his own
Jaden
hero.
Daniels isn't fucking Lamar Jr. Fuck that.
Uh,
So I was looking at it. Where did the line go? I just saw the line. The Ravens are actually. Where the fuck is the line? Are actually favored by almost a full fucking touchdown in this game.
really? Oh yeah, -6.5. Holy shit.
And the over under is 51.5. I think Jaden Daniels, like, if you look at his trajectory this season, he's just getting better and fucking better and fucking better. I
Yeah.
told you the first week that, like, I saw a lot of promise out of him. And then next week it's just got better, and it like
Yeah.
the
Since
yards
week
have
3, it's been phenomenal.
yeah, the yards haven't really gone up much, and he's not throwing enough touchdowns. I'm sorry, the yards passing yards. But so far this season he has 300 rushing yards.
And their clutch, he was the
Mm.
last I heard, he was like leading the league in third down, or not third down, first rushing plays to convert for a first down. It was him and Lamar, and he was like just edging out Lamar. And so it was like he's getting it done on the ground in very clutch situations.
Yeah, and he is currently top half of the league in rushing yards.
Yeah.
He's 16th. He's 16th in the league in total rushing yards. Lamar Jackson is slightly ahead of him. Lamar Jackson is, I think, when Baltimore, and I know you're going to cite this past game against Cincinnati. I think the loss or the win against Cincinnati was more on Cincinnati than Lamar bringing them back. But if against teams that can put up points, Lamar Jackson struggles. Against the NFC, I think Lamar Jackson is like fucking 9-1 or some ridiculous number like that. Like, I think he goes to 9-2 or whatever
Okay.
the fuck it is after this week. I'm 100% on the Jaden Daniels hype train. 100%.
I'm glad you are. I really wanted to take him. I ended up going Baltimore. The game is in Baltimore. And when you look at the stats on these teams, Washington is number 3 on offense. Baltimore is number 1. Washington is 16 on defense. Baltimore, shockingly, is 21 on defense. And so looking into Baltimore's defensive stats, they have been pretty good at stopping the run. They have been horrible at stopping the pass. And so I think there is definitely a path for Washington to get a victory here. But I'm sticking with Baltimore. They're a very established, disciplined team playing at home, and I still have them that much higher on my power rankings, and so just by like de facto, I gotta stick with them in my pick here.
So the stat is he is 21-3 against the NFC.
Jeez.
21-3. His losses are his first game against the NFC, first 2 games against the NFC. He lost to New Orleans and Carolina in 2018. Then
Must have been a Cam Newton game.
Then he lost to the Giants in 2022.
Okay.
Which is crazy. 21-3 is a ridiculous record against the entire fucking conference. Either way, I'm still on Washington. We're moving on to the Arizona Cardinals and the Green Bay Packers. This kind of went down to Arizona's hot and cold. 1 week they're on it, 1 week they suck. 1 week they're on it, 1 week they suck. They just had a big win against the 49ers. I think they're coming in to this game at Green Bay and with a loss.
Yeah, I'm taking Green Bay here. I think that they're just a better, more stable team, even though Jordan Love is kind of trying to regain some footing coming back from this injury still. Um, in Green Bay, man, they can run the ball really well. We know they can air it out really well. But Green Bay, despite having the number 23 ranked defense, like Xavier McKinney's got 5 picks this season, one in each game. I mean, like they're actually playing pretty good, smart defensive football, and so I just trust them a lot more than I do Arizona. If Kyler catches fire like he's done a few times this year, anything can happen. But I'm sticking with the Packers for my pick, man.
All right. And then we have a game we don't need to talk about: the Texans at the Patriots. Texans.
Yes, enough said. Okay, moving on. I'm taking the Texans as well.
Buccaneers at the Saints. If Derek Carr was starting this game, and this was 3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
I would probably consider picking the Saints in this game. There's no shot for the Saints. I'm excited for what I remember of Spencer Rattler at South Carolina.
Yeah, let's see if we can get a little pop here and there, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I think it was also like it was like a last minute. Like they kept the quarterback competition going up until like week like 3 or something for the backup QB, and finally settle on Rattler over Jake Hayner, whoever the fuck that is.
Oh yeah, no, he's in the pros too. I don't remember where, but yeah.
Obviously he's in the pros if he's the third string quarterback on the Saints.
Yes, thank you.
He's a second year player out of Fresno State.
Yes. All right. So yeah, I'm with you. I was gonna take the Saints until the Derek Carr thing. I actually had it really close with Derek Carr, and then finding out he was out, it was easy to just stick with the Buccaneers. So easy peasy.
All right. Then we got the Browns at the Eagles. Ultimate get right game for the Eagles. Deshaun Watson can't fucking throw the forward pass. Eagles win the game.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Schwartz revenge game? No, it's not happening here. So Philly has had issues this year, but Cleveland has got Deshaun Watson anchoring them to the bottom of the ocean. So I'm taking the Eagles.
Who's starting for the next game? Colts at the Titans. I know Richardson's out. I wanted to see about
whether it's Richardson or Flacco. I trust the Colts to beat the Titans.
I agree with you. My only hesitation was who's starting for the Titans, because if it's
I heard Levis was practicing, so I thought he was going to be back.
Yeah, and that's my hesitation. Initial hesitation on it, but with Levis being back, and if Levis is starting for the Titans, I think it's a blowout for. All right, then we have some bad games this week. We have the Chargers at the Broncos, and
yeah, it does seem like a shitty slate of games. You're right, man.
The Broncos, yes, have defenses been playing well. But since I commented on it just now, that means they're going to suck this week. Because a couple weeks ago, I forget what game it was. I forget what week it was. I had sent you a text. I was like, wow, the Broncos defense looks really fucking good in this game. And then all of a sudden they gave up like 35 points. I was like, what the fuck? Is it because I said something about them? Either way, I think the Chargers are the better team. I think the Broncos have a lot of promise for like next year, the year after, with what I'm seeing in the progression of Bo Nix, but I think he needs more experience. I'm on the Chargers.
Yeah, and I do agree with a lot of what you're saying. I'm also picking the Chargers. I like that they're coming off a bye week. It gives Herbert a little bit more time to get healthy, right? And statistically, these teams are like so closely rated right now. The Chargers are 31st on offense and somehow second on defense. The Broncos are 28th on offense and 4th on defense. And so it's, if Denver had a seasoned quarterback, I might pick them in this game, but they don't. And so I'm going with the Chargers.
Another like dominant performance. Pittsburgh at the Raiders. Like what stays in Vegas, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, except for Pittsburgh beating the shit out of the Raiders. Pittsburgh wins.
Yeah, the Raiders are, they're in disarray right now. They're looking for answers. They're making changes. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it just keeps spiraling out of control. I think because of the combination with injuries, it's going to keep spiraling.
Mm-hmm.
And Tomlin, we just saw the way he started the year. He can lock down this team at any time. And so I got to go with the Steelers, man.
Yeah. Falcons at the Panthers. I said 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I was never going to pick the Panthers to win a game this year. I'm on the Falcons.
You have fully aborted, and probably the right choice. I'm
I don't know
loving.
what the fuck I was smoking, thinking they had a chance to be a good team.
It's all right,
I
dude.
was seeing
Sometimes you see something and you just got
well,
to ride the feeling, man.
I was
I'll
seeing
rip
promise.
on you a little bit, but it's all good.
If the offense in Carolina could do a fucking thing besides like the first week, which it always happens, where the backup quarterback comes in and the teams don't know what the offense is going to look at. They're not able to make the adjustment. The backup quarterback looks fucking great, and then the following week, and I'm not saying Andy Dalton's an unknown, but the following week it just kind of drops off because
Yeah.
they didn't prepare for that different quarterback. But I think if the Panthers could put together a decent showing on offense, that defense has the pieces to be a good defense, but they're being beat down by by the offense. It's different with the Broncos, whose defense is playing fucking phenomenal, even though the offense is
Yep.
sputtering.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Yeah, and I'm taking Atlanta as well. I'm a big Cousins supporter. You know that. And we saw it last week. If you have him pass the ball 50 times, he'll carry the team for you. Hopefully, they run the ball because they've got Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. They should be pretty good on the ground. But if push comes to shove, we know they can air it out too. And so I just trust the Falcons a lot better. Yeah, that's my pick, man.
Then we have why the fuck is this not the Sunday night game? Detroit Lions at the Dallas
I kind of
Cowboys.
thought the same thing, man. That kind of bothered me, but whatever.
Like, how the fuck is going into the season the Bengals at the Giants a fucking better
Yeah, and
Sunday night game?
this is such a big rematch from last year at the end of the season too. I mean, it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and especially with giving so with the Giants and the Jets playing and certain rules in the league, like when one team's home, the other
Yeah.
team can't play home at the same time, and so you need one on Sunday night or one on prime time, either Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night. I don't understand why the fuck the Giants and the Jets are Sunday and Monday night games. Why the fuck is the league subjecting us to that garbage? Detroit at the Cowboys is such a better fucking game. If it weren't for a bullshit call last year, the Lions would have beaten the Cowboys. The way the Cowboys have been playing, and they've shown they're beatable at home. The Lions know they can beat
Yeah.
them at home. I think this Lions team is better than last year's Lions team, while the Cowboys are worse than last year's Cowboys team performance-wise. Therefore, I am on the Lions. There's no way I'm fucking picking against the Lions against the Cowboys. And my two questions are, why the fuck is this not Sunday or Monday night game? Second question is, why the fuck is this at Dallas for like a seventh year in a fucking row?
Yeah, that's weird. I think you summed it up really well, though. Both of these teams, I think, have shown some inconsistency this year. But I think the Lions have been figuring it out and they've been locking it down. And, Hutchinson made some comments about this game. The team wants this one bad, and I think they're going to go get it. I'm taking Detroit here, man.
Yeah. So the last time it's the third time in a fucking row they're at fucking Dallas, and it's pissing me
Yeah.
fuck off.
Yeah, this is one I'll point out that on my board I have Detroit and Dallas pretty close. Even though Detroit's higher, if it was a different matchup, I might opt to take the home team. But knowing what we know about these two teams in particular, having that game last year, I think there's extra motivation for Detroit. They're going to get it, man.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the history of the fucking Dallas Detroit matchup. So at Dallas this year, at Dallas last year, at Dallas the year before, at Detroit in 19, at Dallas in 18, at Dallas in 16, at Dallas in 15, at Detroit in 13, at Dallas in 11, at Dallas in 10, at Detroit in 7, at Dallas, at Dallas, at Dallas. And like you have to go back to like 2003 where there were 2 years in a row, 3 years in a row, three.
Yeah, that's a long time to be skewed that way, right? You'd think the
Yeah,
schedule
and
makers
one
would
of
find
them,
a way to rectify that.
I'm sorry, I said 3 years in a row. One of them was possibly a fucking playoff game, depending on, but it was, so I can't remember the 2002 season off the top of my head. So at Detroit, at Detroit, at Detroit. So in 2002 and then 2001/2002, and then at Dallas. So it's rectified, but it's rectified the other way because you go back to like the 90s. It was at Detroit, at Detroit. One of them was a playoff game. One playoff game at Detroit, at Detroit, at Detroit, at Detroit, at Detroit, at Dallas, at Detroit, at Dallas, at Dallas, at Dallas, at Dallas, at Dallas.
Yeah.
So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 of the. It's actually, ironically, pretty fucking even. They played 31 times. They
So you're
played
saying the
31
schedule
times.
makers had to make it even in recent, 15 years.
They played 31 times. They've played 15 times at Detroit, 16 times at Dallas.
So our generation is just getting the shaft, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, our generation is getting the fucking shaft.
Because the old generation somehow got the benefit. Okay.
Yeah, like, I mean, I was like 14, you were like 12 the last time they had back-to-back, or more than 2 games at home, and one of them was a fucking playoff game. Anyways, I digress.
Yeah.
You went with Detroit as well. Cincinnati at the Giants. I don't know why the fuck this is a Sunday night game. Who fucking thought the Giants would be good this fucking year? Not a single person in the fucking world. Bengals, who have been struggling. It's another get right game for the Bengals.
Yeah.
My concern is off an emotional loss coming back, but luckily it's on a Sunday night and playing at the Giants. I'm with the Bengals.
Yeah, and Cincinnati's had a couple good weeks now offensively, where we at least know that side of the ball is humming for them, and so can Burrow start to carry them from here? I don't know, but this is like a good springboard kind of game if they're ever going to have a shot in hell at getting into the playoffs, and so I'm taking Cincinnati, and it is a garbage Sunday night game, but whatever.
And then the garbage Monday night game. I'm guaranteeing you, I'm not going to watch a second of the Sunday night game. I'm not going to watch a second of the Monday night game. Honestly, if they hadn't fired Saleh this week, I would have taken more consideration in picking the Jets in this game. But since they fired Saleh, they're coming back from London on Sunday. Yeah, it's a long time between games. They should be. There's just no fucking way I see the Jets winning this game. The way Rodgers has been playing, it's struggling. And that's the thing, is they fired Saleh, but the defense hasn't been struggling.
No, it's the offense.
The offense is the issue. Why not make the change at the offensive coordinator, not the head coach, who's the defensive minded? I digress. Bullshit.
I think it was a cop-out by the owner. But, yeah, I mean, fuck, the Jets were number 3 on defense, man. It just 27th on offense. Way to go, Aaron Rodgers. And here's the thing that blows my mind is that the Jets are 32nd in the league in rushing with Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. Like, these 2 running backs, man, they should each, like, between the 2 of them should be getting 30-plus carries, and they're just not using them. So just offensively, they are fucked. Buffalo, yeah, they're giving us a little Jekyll and Hyde, right? They came out of the gate fucking hot. Now they're fucking cold. I think they know they got to win this game or they're pretty much fucked. I'm going Buffalo. The Jets
All
are
right.
already fucked.
So I think we're on Friday again next week. So you had
Yes,
sent the
yes, yes,
Thursday night
yes.
game, which is I believe the Broncos at the Saints.
Yeah, I'm glad you popped that in there because yeah, I forgot about our schedule purposes. But yeah, let's hit it, man.
So the Broncos at the Saints, and it comes into again, and actually what I sent you is not what I'm going to fucking pick.
Okay. Yeah, because yeah, you know
Because
that
the more I
Carr's
think
going
about
to
it,
be
with
out.
Carr being out, with and I reserve the right to change this depending on how
Yeah, and you always have the
how
right to
Rattler
change
play.
it, man. Yeah.
Rattler plays this week, but if that offense is humming and if Hill is back and Rattler has a decent game, I might change to the Saints. But the way the Broncos defense has been playing and the progression been seeing from Bo Nix, and it's the Sean Payton revenge
Oh,
game.
yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
and not
yeah.
really. I'm on the Broncos, but I probably I might reconsider before Thursday night.
I'm with you, dude. I'm with you. I think you hit it all very well. I'm going with Denver. If we see like a drastic change in circumstances, of course, I reserve the right to make a change. Or if I'm just feeling spicy, I could fucking change it anyhow. But I'm going Denver.
All right. So those are our picks. Hopefully we do fucking better than we did last week. Although if you look at the history, we gotta if you side like this season, like we've had like one or two weeks where we got more than 8 wins, but we're right around getting eight right.
So we got to fucking up our game, is what you're telling me.
Yeah. So like, why the fuck did you not just let me unhide that, you son of a bitch? So yeah. So we got 12. We got 12 and 13. We're stuck. We did fucking great the first week. Then 9 and 8, 9 and 8. Oh, 10. So we have 2 weeks of 10 or more 10 or more correct, and then last fucking week we got to up our game. We got to figure out what we got to lock it down. Lock this
Yes.
motherfucker down.
Let's do it. This is the week. We're turning it around, my man.
All right. You have any final thoughts on on the game picks, or are you ready to go to question of the week?
Let's do question of the week. All right.
All right.
So
I'm ready.
James, we were talking about Saleh getting fired, and the last couple weeks we talked about Doug Peterson getting fired, which hasn't happened. I want to know if you think there will be another mid-season head coaching firing this year, and who you think it will be. And so, while you're thinking about it, I pulled up some of the standings just to give us some ammo as we're exploring this. Carolina is at 1-4, but it's with a rookie head coach, and the quarterback situation's a mess. I don't think that they're getting rid of Canales. Um,
So I
the
would push back on that initially.
You think
Just
Canales could be
before.
one and
I
done
think I think he could be one
after
and
they
done. I
one and
think
done Frank Reich?
I think he could be because of the fact that he was brought in to fix Bryce Young and he didn't.
Yeah, but I think that the fact that he aborted Bryce Young is like more respect to him. It's
Yeah,
oh shit, maybe we were wrong to draft that motherfucker.
right. And I'm just saying I wouldn't. I'm not
Okay,
saying he could be.
sure,
I'm just saying
sure,
we
yeah.
wouldn't. I wouldn't mark him off as being safe off the bat.
Yeah, I would just say because he's a rookie head coach, I would not have him on the hot seat right now, my opinion. But all right, and then you've got the Rams at 1-4. I think it would be a shock to the world if Sean McVay got fired, and a lot of teams would come calling to try and get him. But they're 1-4, so I'm mentioning it. And then the Patriots at 1-4. Gerard Mayo, first year as the head coach there, major rebuild post Bill Belichick. He's probably safe, but calling it out. Then you've got the Browns and the Bengals both at 1-4, and then in the South you've got the Titans and Jaguars at 1-4. I still am blown away that Doug Peterson didn't get fired and has not been fired with how talented that team is. But James, for the purposes of tonight's exercise, I am going to say that The next guy that I think should be fired is Kevin Stefanski. The fact that he is fucking digging his heels in so hard on Deshaun Watson, in my opinion, is a major failure as a leader of that team. Uh, he doesn't fit the scheme. They've tried to adjust for over a year. It's just not fucking working. Go back to your bread and butter. If you can't go back to your bread and butter, you can't fucking be there, man. Somebody else is going to have to make that hard move if you can't make it. Just my opinion.
All right. So I instantly pulled up an article. It's on USA Today. 7 NFL coaches on the hot seat. Who's on notice after Jets fired Robert Saleh by Nate Davis? And I look at it, and first of all, Stefanski's on the list.
Yep.
There's a couple interesting ones
that I
on
didn't
the
mention.
list. Nick Sirianni.
Because of the dysfunction in Philadelphia.
Because of the dysfunction.
Even though they're 2-2, you could say they should be 3-1 or better. Yep.
Antonio Pierce.
I figure Pierce because, he was an interim guy last year, so how committed to him are they really this year?
So here's the thing with Pierce, and I don't know what his contract terms are, but Al Davis can't keep hiring and firing these coaches every year. He can't
pay him
he
forever.
Can't fucking afford it. And pay him forever. You mentioned Peterson, who I'm shocked still has a job. McCarthy.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Dallas is fucking 3-2. I think that he's one that unless they fall below 500, and it looks like they're not going to make the playoffs, because the whole thing for them is if they can make the playoffs, it's Super Bowl or bust, right? But if something happens where their playoff window closes, then I think McCarthy, you could drop the axe anytime.
All right. Canales at 1-4.
It's hard to get rid of a rookie head coach, though.
I'm going to put a pin in that. Dennis Allen.
Yeah, but they started so hot.
Exactly. Pearson, Pierce, Sirianni, Stefanski. I think that Stefanski and Watson starting and him being dug in on Watson is coming from above. We're paying him $70,000 million a year. He's our starting quarterback till I tell you. And I don't think Stefanski has a choice in it.
Yeah, if it's coming from the top, then Stefanski's just fucked. Would you even consider Zach Taylor?
Zach
Taylor
Taylor
at 1-4. I mean, I didn't emphasize him. You know that me personally, I am not a Zach Taylor fan. I'm just wondering your thoughts, because I could make a similar argument for the Bengals as I can for the Jaguars. You've got a team that's got a ton of talent and a ton of expectations, and they're both sitting at 1 win.
I could make the argument for Taylor a little bit into the season, if not at 5 weeks. I struggle making the argument for Taylor at 5 weeks because historically the Bengals start slow.
Sure.
So if you talk to me at 8-10 weeks, I might.
Yeah, let's say you get to week 9 and they're mathematically out of the playoff hunt. You drop the axe on them?
I don't know if I would drop the axe on him. I'm along with you. I'm not exactly a fan of his, but he's done a lot of good things there.
I think Joe Burrow's done a lot of good things there.
That's where I'm going. A lot of that has to do with Burrow, and so I think he has a longer leash with that franchise than most head coaches do. So that's my only hesitation.
Okay.
I'm going to go with, and I put a pin in it earlier, and I fought back with you when you said there's no way they could fire another head coach in his rookie year. I'm going to go with Canales. Yes, he did abort on Bryce Young after 2 weeks. He was brought in to fix Bryce Young. That's the only reason why he has a fucking job there, was to fix Bryce Young. He aborted on Bryce
If
Young.
the guy can't be fixed.
If he can't be fixed, but if he can't be fixed, why the fuck am I employing you? I'm gonna go employ somebody else that does what I do. You were supposed to be the quarterback whisperer. You can't fucking
and if you're the quarterback whisperer and you say, I can't fix this guy, I think that's respect to you for saying, I know what I can get out of a quarterback. This guy doesn't fucking have it.
David Tepper has owned the Carolina Panthers since 2019.
Horrible owner, dude. He's such
2019. Since 2019, 5 fucking years.
Yeah.
He has had 7 coaches, whether interim or head coaches. 7 coaches in 5 fucking years.
Well, yeah, I guess that alone, yeah, you can say then Canales is on the hot seat. Because Tepper just can't commit. I don't know, dude. I don't know how Tepper is such a successful business guy, because when I watch what he's done with the Panthers, he looks like the worst fucking ADHD fucking business owner I've ever seen, man.
Well, that's just also because he fucking throws drinks
on fans. What a piece of shit, dude.
I wanted to pull up the list of their seasons and when he fired their head coach. So let's see, blah blah blah, logo and uniforms. Because it's really fun. He has one of the fucking quickest triggers that I've seen. Okay, so
he must be voting for Trump. You're fired.
So 2019, he had Rivera. Rivera was fired. Week 19 was a 16 game season, like week 13 in 2019. Matt Rule lasted.
Matt Rule was so bad. Yeah, he lasted way too long.
Almost 3 seasons, or 3 1/4 seasons. Steve Wilkes, week 4, fired Rule, brought in Wilkes.
Frank Reich, I liked Wilkes, man. I thought that one needed more time.
Now, this is a fucking weird stat because it makes no fucking sense to me.
Okay.
Carolina didn't make the playoffs in 2013. Or 2023.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, why are we going back to 2023?
2023, they didn't make the playoffs. Last year. According to this, Frank Reich coached the Panthers for 11 games, and Chris Tabor coached the Panthers for 8 games. That's 19.
Are they saying that maybe the preseason counted towards Reich or something? That's weird.
No, like it makes no sense. Like it's obviously an error.
Yeah.
Hired
error.
After a 1-11 start, the Panthers fired him.
Oh, were they fucking right to do that now when we see Bryce Young this year? Come on, man. We both knew Frank Reich was a good coach. He fucking, just got shafted, man.
Okay, so here's the stat on Frank Reich. Frank Reich became the first head coach to be fired mid-season in back-to-back seasons.
Yep.
First to be fired in back-to-back seasons mid-season. So that has him. So yeah, he was 1-10. How the fuck was Tabor coach 8 games?
I don't know.
Frank Reich, Tabor completed the season 1-5. It's just a fucking error on that page.
Sure.
He was 1-5.
So make your choice.
So, on the list, I agree with you. McCarthy's not being fired unless they fucking fall off a fucking cliff.
Yeah, which could happen, but it won't be until later.
Peterson is a strong candidate.
Any week, yep.
Anytime.
But
The thing
give me
is,
one other than him because we've been talking about him for 3 weeks now.
right, but interesting thing about it, besides Urban Meyer, I can't remember the last head coach that Shad Khan fired mid-season.
Yeah, but if it's that bad, times change.
So let me see. Meyer, fifth head coach, 17, 115 season. Marone was fired after the end of the season. Gus Bradley, whoever the fuck that was fired shortly before the end of the 2016 season.
Yeah, he was
So it was Gus
like Bortles
Bradley.
era.
Yeah, but Shad Khan didn't own the Panthers until like 20. It was after that.
Okay.
So I don't think Shad Khan has fired
Maybe now's the time.
a coach. Let's see. Owner. Where the fuck is Shad Khan bought them in 2012. Okay, so he did. He bought them in 2012.
Okay.
So Marone, was it Marone I said?
Yeah, Doug Marone. Or
It's
Gus
about
Bradley.
Gus, Gus Bradley. It wasn't Marone. Marone was fired at
2016.
2012, I thought I said.
Yeah, but when Gus Bradley got fired, trying to figure out where were you wanting me to help you?
Oh, I don't fucking know. I'm looking for it, trying to find it again.
Hey, no biggie.
I think you're right. It was 2016 with whoever the fuck you
Gus
just
Bradley.
said. Yeah, Gus Bradley. I don't know who to fucking pick. Like honestly, I just
Meeny,
don't.
miny, mo.
So Gus Bradley in 16. So Malarkey.
You're thinking too deep into the past giving you the answer for the future. You need to look at these guys right now and say, who is doing the shittiest job with the resources that they have where you could make an argument that something needs to change.
So Peterson, there's a lot of issues in preparedness for the team. I am gonna go with Canales. I just
Okay.
something's telling me
Because
he was
Tepper's a fucking crazy person.
Tepper's a fucking crazy person. Canales was brought in to do one job and he couldn't do it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I think it's a dick move to fire a rookie head coach, especially if the guy has the balls to tell you that you fucked up in drafting a player. But I hear you, man. You brought him in to do it, and if he can't do it, he can't do it. So.
But they already fired the GM that drafted.
Sure.
him.
I got you. All right. I'm not. Hey, you're allowed to have your pick, man. You're allowed to have your pick.
One person that I want to say is a dark horse, hot seat candidate, and it's kind of.
Nah, give it to me, man.
And it's kind of a fucked up conclusion. Brian Callahan. Historically, the Titans have given so many chances to coaches. But
yeah,
once they kind of look and be like, you know what, it's just not working. And that's another rookie head coach.
It's another one that I would not. My whole thing is when I look at those guys, I have a hard time firing them knowing what they have to work with. If they were on a team like Jacksonville or Cincinnati, where you have these like proven players and resources, then I would say, yeah, if they were only 1-4, it'd be a problem. But when they're on teams that don't have quarterbacks and have gaping holes on other parts of the roster, it's like, okay, they're in their first year. You got to give them time to fucking build the team and, you know, develop these guys into their schemes and all these things. And so to me, they have more leash, but I hear what you're saying. If it's like, if you see it, you're just like, this coach just isn't inspiring people and he's just not a good leader. And, you know, maybe there's other things going on there. Then it's like, okay, we made a mistake. We got to fucking rip the Band-Aid off already. But
Yeah.
I
So
just think
for
it's hard to evaluate those guys in the first year, man.
I agree with you. And the issue with firing, is it Brian
Callahan.
Callahan? Brian Callahan. The issue with firing Callahan is he brought his dad,
Yeah, offensive line coach, highly
who is a
respected.
highly respected NFL coach, career NFL coach, basically been coaching since the 70s. And in the NFL since the 90s. So he's been in the NFL for 30 years.
Yeah.
He's very highly respected in league circles, and that's the issue and why I don't see them firing Callahan mid-season. I do see them.
Oh, it'd be such a dick move if they did, and then they tried making the dad the interim. It would be like,
Oh,
whoa, and if you're the dad, what are you gonna do, man? Because you're like, well, I want to keep coaching. If I tell them no, then I might get fucking blackballed. But or at the same time, you're thinking, I want to say yes because maybe this is my shot to be a coach. And it'd be such a fucked
so
up thing, dude.
so he got a head coaching job at the Raiders. Like
Oh, all
he
right, all right, all right.
so he had a couple years, 2000, 2003 head coach at the Raiders.
20
He
years
was
ago,
also
yeah.
then he was the head coach at Nebraska. So
Okay.
he has head coaching
Oh, that
experience.
sounds familiar to me.
And in 2019, he was the interim head coach for Washington after they fired. I don't remember.
Rivera, no.
No,
Was it
Rivera was
Rivera?
after. No,
Yeah.
Rivera took over. Who the fuck?
Either
It
way,
was
we
the guy
don't need.
before Rivera.
I don't remember.
But I have a better dick move for Bill Callahan after he's offered the interim job to turn around and hire fucking Brian Callahan as a fucking offensive line coach to take his spot as the offensive line coach. Now that's a better fucking move than
Yeah,
that
but
take.
obviously that would never work.
Oh, but it'd still be hilarious. Like give him the autonomy to
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
hire.
yeah.
Okay,
I'm the
so it
head
was
coach
Jay
now.
Gruden. He took over for Jay Gruden.
Okay. Oh yeah, the Jake Gruden experiment. God, that guy was just very arrogant. Very arrogant.
Which this might be the problem with. Oh no, that's 2020. He hasn't been a coach in the league since 2020. I just went down to the bottom and looked at the last team and assumed that it was he was the current coach. I was going to say maybe that's a problem with the Jaguars because he's the offensive coordinator there, but he was the offensive coordinator there in 2020. And the offensive coordinator, yeah, that I don't even fucking get me started on like that.
That's all right. That's all good.
Anyways, so that's our show for tonight, for this week. Play Name That Stadium, please. I'm in fucking Baltimore. I'm in fucking Baltimore. It's the fucking game of the week.
Nobody's watching at this
it's
point the show, James.
basically
We're
a
like
fucking
2 hours
crossover.
deep, man.
Fucking pick, fucking play, fucking play question of the week. Who do you think will be fired? What question do you want us next week? Just fucking interact with us. Tell us what
Yeah.
we do good. We don't give a fuck. We'll listen to your comments. We'll probably make fun of you at some point because that's just who we are. Either way, that's a wrap. You got
That's all
anything
right.
else?
No, that's it, man. No, I appreciate you winding us down there. And yeah, hey, hit that fucking subscribe button, people. James, like always, man, it was a good time. I'll catch you later, bud.
All right, sounds good. Have a good one.
Gridiron Grinder. Hut hut hike.